is a fantasy girl fall on this channel. I love fall with everything in me, and I love fall reading. It is my favorite time to read ever. With that being said, on today's video, I am going to go through every single book on my fall TBR. Oh, hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Madison. I am very excited to go through all of my fall reads today because, like I said, it is literally my favorite time to read. It's summer, it's just too hot outside for me. I do like summer romances, but like fantasy fall is so good. But behind me, I have all of my books kind of split up. So these two are fantasy, and then we have some literary fiction and then romances that I want to get into this fall. So with that being said, let's go over every single book on my fall TBR. Preface, I'm not going to get to every single one of these books. Like that would literally be impossible. Right now, I think I average like 6 to 8 books a month, which is very, very good. However, there's no way I would be able to get through every single one of these. These are just the books that are on my radar. Also, I consider fall September, October, November, so this is like gonna get me through that. So starting off, we're going to go through the fantasy books first. My literal favorite thing to read in the fall is fantasy books, so let's get into that one. Starting off, we have 4 very, very exciting ones. I want to read the Twilight series, so hear me out. You're gonna be like, did you never read that before? Whenever this was like peak, I was in elementary school, so no, I didn't read them. I've seen all the movies a million times. Those are my comfort movies. Every time I watch them, I feel like coming home. Like I feel like that's what it feels like to come home. And I never read them, especially being a reader. I cannot believe I never read that. Like I've never read them, but I went to Half Price Bookstore. If you want to reread these, like please do not buy them full price at Barnes & Noble. I got all of these for literally like $25 at the Half Price Bookstore. I'm really excited. I think I kind of want to film a reading vlog of me reading the Twilight series since I've never read it. But of course, we have Twilight, we have New Moon, we have Eclipse, and we have Breaking Dawn. I am most excited for Breaking Dawn because if you've watched the movies, the ending of Breaking Dawn and like the little plot twist that they have in Breaking Dawn isn't how it goes over in this one, I'm pretty sure. So I am very, very excited to see how they actually wrote Breaking Dawn in comparison to how they did the movie. Next is actually a book that I just got in the mail. It is Quicksilver by Callie Hart. I do not know anything about this. I've just seen it everywhere throughout Bookstagram, Booktube, and Book Talk. So I'm very excited. The cover is pretty cool. I think this is like an indie book, but it's kind of blowing up because I've looked for it in Barnes & Noble and it's not even like on the website. So I'm excited for this one. Some of these are going to be like quick fire because I don't want to sit here and explain every single synopsis of every single book. Yeah, that's how I'm doing it. Okay, next I read One for My Enemy by Olivia Blake a few months ago, and I really enjoyed it. I did feel a little stupid reading it. Like the writing is very, I'd say, pretentious, but I do want to get into more of her work, so I do have the Atlas 6. I've had this on my TBR actually for a very long time before I even read One for My Enemy, and I know this is about a like society that takes in a certain amount of magicians every year or so. Each decade, only the 6 most uniquely talented magicians are selected to earn a place in the Alexandrian Society, the foremost secret society in the world. So yeah, I kind of got it right. And I know this is like a trilogy, so I'm excited because I think all of Olivia Blake's other books are standalone, so that'll be interesting. Okay, next on TikTok, I have literally talked about wanting to read this book so many times. I just have not gone around to it because the like thickness scares me. The glossary in the beginning is also like 20 pages long, but it is When the Moon Hatched by Sarah A. Parker. I know there's dragons in this. I know it is very strong fantasy. Again, this is a brick. That is literally a brick, and the glossary itself, ready? Like this is all the glossary, so that scares me. I feel like I'm gonna get halfway through the book and be like, I forget what happened like in the beginning because I already read fucking 700 pages. But this is on my radar because I do see good things about it. Next, I am currently reading A Court of Wings and Ruin. So I read actually Akamov in my last reading vlog, and I'm currently reading War. So I really this fall want to read A Court of Frost and Starlight and also A Court of Silver Flame, so then I have the ACOTAR series finished. I think she's coming out with more books. I really don't keep up with the Sarah J Maas lore because again, this is the first Sarah J Maas like books I've read. I do have, if you can see in the back, I don't even know if you can see it, I do have the whole entire Throne of Glass series bought because I got that for Christmas in a box set. And I also do have, okay, this is gonna sound weird, I have the third Crescent City book. I don't have the first and the second because my mom went to like this flea market and recognized the author and she bought me the third one, so I just have to get the first and second. But I am in my Sarah J Maas era, so I am hoping to read these two in the fall. Continuing on with the fantasy series, I do want to read the Zodiac Academy. I have the first and second book, and okay, so I literally was about to start this, and then I looked up a little bit about it, and anytime I try to figure out the reading order, it goes like, my brain goes out the window. I don't want to mess it up. I want to read it the right way, and I want to read it the best way, but there's like the main Zodiac Academy series, and then there's a prequel series, and then I think there's another one, and I do not know the correct order. So if anyone knows the correct order and the best way you think it is to read it, let me know. I love a school setting. Like, I absolutely love it. So this being like set in an academy and also like Zodiac, I love that. Another book that I do not have, because I have the Barnes & Noble special edition for the first one, and the second one comes out next week, so then I'm gonna pick it up then. It is The Cursed by Harper L. Woods. I just finished The Coven by Harper L. Woods, and I give it a 5 stars. There's honestly nothing that I didn't like about it, and The Cursed is just a continuation of the book. I think there's only 2 in that series. It's a duology, and it is so good. It's basically about this witch who goes to a school because she's destined to do something, and she meets a vessel, but this school is basically like, the witches and the vessels hate each other, but they're like forced to live like among each other. They fall in love, and also like they're both keeping big secrets from each other, and it is so good. There were so many twists and turns, and it kept me on my toes. I did rate it like a 4.5 at first, and I was like, but there's nothing I didn't like about it, so I changed it to a 5. So I'm excited to get the second one. These are like crack. I'm not even kidding. Next, I don't know if you would categorize this as a fantasy, but the author is Stephen King, and all of his books are horror, but I don't think I would categorize this as a horror book, because this actually was made into a Hulu series with one of the Franco brothers. I forget which one, but I watched it with my dad, and it literally was amazing. So I really want to read the book. It's actually 11/22/63. This is also a brick, but if you don't know what this is about, okay, listen. I am a hyper fixator, and since I was little, the Kennedy curse and like the Kennedy assassination has fascinated me so much. This is basically about Jake Epping, and he's like a high school teacher, but his friend is keeping a secret. He actually, in his diner that he owns, the closet is a time capsule, so like he walks through it and he's back in like 1960, I think it is, and he comes back, but he's dying, and he asks Jake to please go back in time and stop the Kennedy curse. It is so good. I know it might not sound interesting, but it was so good. This show was so good, so I'm very excited to read this. It is just a brick, but is like perfect to read in the fall months. That is all of the fantasy books that I have on my immediate radar for this month. So going into my literary fiction books, there is only 2, but I have been trying to enter like my literary fiction era, because as I get older, I just feel like I am growing out of some books, but again, like young adult is very, very fun to read, and I do enjoy it. I enjoy young adult fantasy and thrillers more, honestly, sometimes than adult fantasy and thrillers. But the first one is The Midnight Library. I'm pretty sure you would categorize this as literary fiction. This girl, Nora, her life has been going from bad to worse, and on the last day of her life, she finds herself in the Midnight Library, and each book contains an alternate life, so a possible life if she made different choices. And I think that's a very interesting concept, so I am hoping to read this, especially because, I don't know, I think literary fiction books are very important in finding yourself, and at certain times in your life, especially me being in my young 20s, navigating life and kind of not knowing where I'm going to go or where I'm going to end up. I think literary fiction books are very good at kind of keeping like the peace within me, if that makes sense. So I am excited to read this one. And then I have The Nightingale by Kristen Hanna. I recently read Firefly Lane by Kristen Hanna, and I cried my eyes out. I cried like a baby. That book was so good. So this actually takes place during World War II, and it follows 2 sisters, and basically their years separated and coming back together. And I have an older sister, so I have a feeling this book is gonna hit me right here. Her first book hit me right here, and I have thought about it every day since. That book was amazing. I gave it 5 stars, so I am really hoping I enjoy this one. So, and I also kind of really do enjoy books set during World War I and II. I don't know why. I feel like the love stories that are told during that are very heartbreaking and also very scary. But I never thought I would be someone who would enjoy like a history type book or like historical fiction, but I do really enjoy them. So I did only have 2 in my nonfiction list. So going into my fall romance reads, I also did just get this in the mail. It is A Love Letter to Whiskey by Candy Steiner. I literally don't know what this is about, but I have seen this everywhere on Book Talk, BookTube, Bookstagram, everywhere. And every time I see it, people are annotating the hell out of it. So I love to annotate. So I'm hoping that this is also something that I'm going to love and the writing I'm going to love. I think it might be sad. Okay, I'm going to read the back, this little blurb. It says, I saw him first, but it didn't matter because he saw her. He was my best friend and I was his. We couldn't be together, but we couldn't stand to be apart. And if you're not truly lovers, but you're so much more than friends, what exactly are you? Holy shit. Yeah, I'm 100% gonna jump into this fall. This one also isn't in Barnes & Noble, and I thought it says 5-year anniversary, so I would really have thought that I would find this in Barnes & Noble, but I don't think they sell it. Next, I have been trying to get through the series that I've started, and I have been putting these two off for a very long time because I simply didn't like the first one. However, I do like her other books. So I loved Love Redesigned and Love Unwritten by Lauren Asher, and I hated the fine print, but the fine print is part of the Dreamland Billionaire series, and I already have these two books, so I just know I need to read them, but I just can't get myself to read them because I hated the fine print. I didn't hate the world, so that's like kind of encouraging. I just hated the characters in the first one. I will get to these eventually, but these are definitely on my list to finish before the year ends. Maybe not this fall, maybe this fall, but maybe not. But I do have these on my radar because I just want to get them finished. They sit on my bookshelf and stare at me and are like, why have you not read me? I will get there. If you guys could see like my bed right now and all the books thrown everywhere. Next is a book I also recently got. It is actually by Rebecca Yarros. She wrote Fourth Wing, but this is the last letter, and I think this is supposed to be a very emotional romance book. The back about what it's about is literally just a letter, and it sounds like someone dies, maybe in war, because there's like a army tag on the front, and it says, if I'm gone, that means I can't be there for Ella. I can't help them through this, but you can. Go take care of my sister, my family. Please don't make her go through it alone. Ryan. So I have a feeling this is probably a sad book. It's kind of giving me, oh my god, what is it? The Nicholas Sparks movie with Zac Efron. I haven't seen that in years. The Lucky One. Yeah, The Lucky One. That's kind of like what this is giving me. Next, I have Out on a Limb by Hannah Bonin Young. I know a lot of people really love this book. This is like the new cover because it got traditionally published in Barnes & Noble, and I love this cover. I know a lot of people like the first one, but I really like this cover. I usually don't like the accidental pregnancy trope, and I know this has it, but a lot of people say they hate that trope, and it doesn't like bother them at all in this book, so I'm very excited to get to this. I know a lot of people really, really like this author. Lastly, on my romance radar this fall is Mile High and The Right Move by Liz Tom Ford. I posted on TikTok and I was like, do I read this or do I just read the other three? Even though that would like bother my OCD like crazy, not reading the first one, but reading the rest. But everyone says just read it. It is like, it's still good, but it's not the best of the series like compared to the others, because I have heard a lot of people say that they hate this book and they love the other ones, but people also say that it's good, it's just not as good as the other ones. So I think I just have to like suck it up and get through it, even though it is like pretty thick with small font. But I mean, it is a romance book. How bad could it be? You know what I mean? And I know people love this. I think this is called like the Windy City series or something, or the Sin City series, something like that. And people love this. And the like fourth one just came out and people loved it. So I really want to get to those ones. So those are the romance books that I want to get to this fall. Now going into thriller books that I want to read in the fall. I honestly only ever really read thriller books in the fall, which is crazy because my mom is like a crazy reader. She's like, why I like to read? She only reads thrillers and mysteries. Like I've never seen my mom with a romance book, which is insane. I also really do enjoy young adult thrillers and mysteries, so that's why I have this one. It's called The One That Got Away with Murder. It is by Trish Lundy, and I haven't heard anything about this, and the reason why I bought it was because in the description of the book it says the Cressmont brothers have enough wealth to ensure they'll never be found guilty of any wrongdoing, even if all of the Happy Valley believes they're behind the deaths of their girlfriends. And Happy Valley is actually, if you don't know, that's what Penn State calls themselves. Like I went to Penn State. I am a Penn State graduate. I am a part of the Penn State cult, so I saw Happy Valley and I immediately had to get it. Next, it's actually 3 books from the same author because I want to at least read one of his books this fall. It is Riley Sager. So I have Final Girl, I have Middle of the Night, and I have The Only One Left. And my mom really does enjoy his book, so that's a reason why I do also want to read it. He is like strictly a thriller author, and I actually have this one, and it's a signed copy. And I got this at a bookstore in Virginia, so I think I might read this one, depending on when is the question. But I do want to read one of his thrillers because he apparently writes very good thrillers. And then lastly, I have The Astrology House by Karen Jade. I picked this up, I think it might be a new release. I picked this up at a local bookstore in Pittsburgh, and basically what it is about is these people who are going through different things in life go to an astrology retreat, and it says no one holds a greater secret than the astrologer host Rennie, who has her own plans for the guests, and it is a thriller. My mom already read it because I gave it to her to read because I knew that she would get to it way before I would, and she said it was good, so I am excited to jump into that one. But yeah, you guys, that is every single book on my fall TBR. Again, I'm not going to get to all of these, not even close, but these are just the ones on my immediate radar. I hope you guys enjoyed watching this video, and if you enjoyed, please like, subscribe, all of that YouTube stuff. But yeah, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and thank you so much for watching. Bye!